In this section, we are going to look at another design pattern called as mapping iterator. So to explain this, let me open a new mapping iterator.sol and build a simple project to explain what is this. 6.12 and then say contract mapping, right? So what we are going to do is build a feedback mechanism kind of, right? So here I want to create a function called as give feedback, right? Give feedback public, right? And anyone will be able to give feedback. So to collect the feedback given by people, I'm thinking I'll use a mapping. Okay, a mapping from address to unsigned integer should give me my feedback, right? So let's say mapping, right, from an address to a uint 8, because feedback cannot go more than 5. I'm using an unsigned integer 8 and call this feedback. Okay, so what happens when a person gives a feedback, right? Let's say he will send a uint 8, okay, underscore feedback. I wanna do feedback of the message.sender is equal to underscore feedback, correct? So you do this, that's not a problem. So after a point in time, what's going to happen is it's going to say address 1 gave 4, right, and address 2 gave 5, that way. Okay, it's going to store all of that in a mapping. The problem is, if someone asks you who all has given feedback till now, okay, in a class of 10 people, who all has given feedback till now is the question. Will you be able to answer that using a mapping? No, right? It is not possible for us to use a mapping to find out who all has done it till now, right? So what you need to do is take all the 10 addresses, if you know the addresses, right? Or if it is a public feedback, then you don't know who all has given yet. What is the count of people who gave the addresses and things like that, right? So that's why Solidity suggests that you also create a uh, addresses array, right? Address array, say public, and call it addresses, right? So what this is going to do is, as soon as you add feedback into the mapping, right, to solve the problem of you don't know who all has given till now, how many people have given till now, etc., add this address into the array also. Say addresses dot push of message dot sender. What is this going to give you? In a mapping, you will not be able to loop through who all has given, and you need to make all the keys, the key values into an array, so that later you can find the length or the values of who all has given it, right? So that's the only thing here. Go and deploy this mapping, right? So once you go here, I want to give feedback, let's say 4, okay, and the next person has to give feedback, let's say 4.5. I'm not sure if that will be accepted. No invalid number type, 5, right? And another person comes in, gives, let's say 3, give feedback, right? Even if you want to in this particular example, right, if you want to calculate the average of the feedbacks, you will not be able to do it if you only use a mapping, correct? So that's the problem. Yeah, so feedback of an address will be able to easily calculate. Yeah, just copy this. If you give it in feedback, you'll get how much he has given, but which all addresses gave the feedback yet is not known to us. That's why this addresses array is coming for help: 0, 1, 2, etc., right? And if you want, you can probably write a function which says count, okay, public view returns unsigned integer, right? This will return the addresses dot length, correct? If you do this, what's going to happen is that addresses dot length, that's gonna return how many people have contributed the feedback till now, right? Also, if you want, you can return the entire array also to the public. Yeah, how can you do that? Is by doing function return addresses, right? Public view returns. We have not done this before. Giving out or returning an entire array, right? An entire dynamic array to the front end. Okay, we have only returned 1, 2 values. There was a reason for that. I'll tell you what it is now. Okay, it's not a suggested approach, but you should also know how it is done, right? So what are we gonna return now? Address array, and since this will be dynamic, it will be memory. Okay, and let it keep it there, right? So address array memory, correct? Now I want to return the addresses, right? So that's what we need to do, and it returns the entire array of addresses. Okay, so why I told you that this is not the suggested approach till now is because in 0.5 and similar things like that, right, it wouldn't allow you to do this address of memory and things, right? Returning this entire thing is not allowed, right? It uses something called as ABI encoder v2. I'll change this to A6, pragma experiential, right? ABI encoder v2. This happens whenever you, how do you say, experimental, sorry, experimental. Yeah, so if you use this, it means these features are all in the beta stage, right? If you are returning an entire array or entire struct from this function, it gives you an error saying this is a beta feature and things. Very recently in 0.6.12 and things like that, we have added this functionality, right? Now you can definitely return these arrays. Okay, so now let's deploy this, and now let's give feedback. Okay, so I'll give 3, and then let me give 4, and then let me give 5, right? So addresses will give me count is 3. I can easily find out what is the count latest, and if I return addresses, it's gonna return an entire array, and this has 3 addresses separated by commas, right? So that is how you can use a mapping iterator and make use of this address array along with the mapping. This duo, this couple is very powerful, right? So mapping helps you store key value pairs, as we know, but there is no way that you can loop a mapping. To do that, you are gonna use a array of the keys, correct? Remember this example. This will be very helpful whenever you are using a mapping in your program, right? We'll see in the next video.